Diddy adopted a white child.
Tried to sacrifice me, but I ran away from there.
Because I am a great father, but I'm sleeping with the...
Buckle up, because this story is heating up fast. Word on the street is that Kevin Hart is in full panic mode after 50 Cent leaked a video featuring him and Diddy. And this isn't your typical Hollywood rumor. This one's got real fallout. The video drop has Kevin shaken, Diddy caught in the crossfire, and fans watching every move. Reputations are hanging in the balance, friendships are getting tested, and the internet is eating it up. Kevin's probably wondering how he's going to spin this, while Diddy's left thinking, I didn't sign up for this. As for 50, oh, he knew exactly what he was doing the moment he hit post.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Oh, Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Barone.
Eva Barone Combs. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents.
And he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Yeah.
Diddy presented me in front of his friends. I was very scared. He tried to sacrifice me, but I ran away from there.
What is a freak off? The freak off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism.
He had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak-offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting.
They might say she's lying, but that's going to be a little hard to do with that video.
And just like that, the celebrity world is in a tailspin, and we're here for every second of it. Grab your popcorn, because this video leak has Kevin Hart scrambling and social media in a frenzy. What makes it even messier? The footage catches Kevin saying some things he probably never wanted to go public, including some sharp words about another industry name. You know how Hollywood beefs go. But here's the real mystery. How did 50 Cent even get this clip? Rumor has it, someone with insider access secretly recorded the conversation between Kevin and Diddy, then slipped it to 50, who, of course, couldn't resist adding fuel to the fire. The moment that video hit the internet, comment sections lit up. Some fans backed Kevin, others called him out, and the memes? They started dropping faster than apologies at an award show.
Step to the side. Step to the side, please.
Yes, my are you guys feeling? How do you feel today?
Step to the side, please.
Watch out. Watch your butt.
Big great. How can you bump it today? Congratulations at NYU, Chad. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Golden Nation.
Nice little you smile. Nice. That
Step to the side, please.
feel like we let us guy being by his great stuff. Yeah.
Please.
Watch out. Give us a little space, please. Oh, nice. Sorry about that. Give us a little space.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm getting it. Guys.
oh. Boss down down. When you guys, it's burning it.
Back up. Sorry, back up.
Like first play, gotta work with right out of here. It's also tonight.
Hey, man, Sean, man, be good, bro.
The comments came pouring in, and they were mixed. A wave of supporters rallied around Kevin Hart, sending messages like, "We got you, Kev. Don't let the hate get to you." But others weren't as forgiving. Some pointed out, if you didn't want it out there, you shouldn't have said it. As the days went on, Kevin's response started to shift. At first, he came out swinging, taking jabs at 50 Cent for leaking the video. But then, his tone changed. In a recent interview, he owned up to it, saying, "I take full responsibility for my role in this. I should have been more mindful about what I said, even in private."
Prosecution's star witness taking the stand, but it was more than that. It was how Cassie took that stand. You could hear a pin drop when those doors opened, and a visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura walking past a man she had not seen in 6.5 years, a man she says violently abused her for a decade, a man the prosecution said trafficked her. Well, she sat across from him, placed her overcoat behind her, turning her body slightly toward the jury, rubbing her pregnant belly throughout her testimony. Diddy Well, he was more fidgety than he was the day before. He was passing notes. He pushed himself away from the defense table and largely sat like that. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying about having loved him once and planning and participating in these freak-off sex parties because she feared him and she wanted to make him happy, but feeling worthless, feeling disgusting because she didn't want to do it. Now, with each moment, the testimony became more and more graphic. Her delivery, though, it never changed. It was matter of fact, steady, calm. At times, she was even critical of herself, walking us all through how a 10-album record deal came over a 10-year period of abuse and sexual humiliation.
Is he running an entertainment and fashion industry, or is he running essentially a criminal organization?
By the way, we have a poll up right now. You can participate in it. Do you think Cassie Ventura was a victim or partner in this? Ready for this? 82%. Well, this doesn't make sense. 82% say yes. I don't know if that's yes to, I think we need clarification. 82% say victim or partner. We'll get a clarification on that.
By the way, that's my answer to that question.
Oh, okay. 82% say victim. 82% say victim. Maybe based on we're reporting on the testimony right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think she is a victim if the allegations are true, but also she is involved in some of the criminal act. I mean, she's getting those prostitutes, right? She's making payments to them, allegedly. She's having them come. So she's involved in some of the alleged criminal activity. And that's an interesting point that wouldn't just apply to her. Other people in his orbit might be some combination of victim and co-conspirator.
But you know what? That video changes everything, because the argument would be, what do you think happens if she says no? Yeah. What do you think happens if she says, I'm not in the mood for a freak off tonight. I'm not going to pay the dancer. That's what's going to happen. That video is arguably the most important piece of evidence because it sets the stage when we're talking about coercion or fraud or force. Question from Angelina. How old was Cassie when they first started dating? I think she was 19 years old. So you're talking about a 17-year age difference. That's important. I think that's an important factor if you're talking about power and control, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he's older and obviously has much more power anyway.
Sherry Williams asks, what kind of time is Diddy facing if he's found guilty?
Then, Kevin's inner circle started to show up. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's been close friends with Kevin for years, shared a public message of support. Real friends have each other's backs. Kevin's a good dude, and he'll come out stronger. Even Diddy finally spoke up, saying, Kevin and I are like brothers. This whole thing has been blown way out of proportion. But despite the support, it was clear the pressure was weighing on Kevin. He began canceling appearances and stepped out of the spotlight, a rare move for someone usually so public and confident. It just goes to show, even the biggest stars feel it when their private moments go public. And now, the big question looms. What happens to Kevin and Diddy's friendship? They've been rolling deep for years, shouting each other out on social media, showing up to events together, basically, friendship goals. But this situation changes things. As of now, neither of them has addressed the full story, and the silence speaks volumes.
Seeing how Albie Shore, he came out saying that Kim Porter death needs to be looked into? I think that Al being his ex-wife, he have every right knowing about the stuff that came out about Diddy and what he was doing. You understand what he has done in the past, and people have overlooked it. By him coming out and saying that he hoped that he could get her case reopened, there was a guy called John Paperwork, the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be sure doing this is showing that, you know, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth because allegedly Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all.
So you feel the same way about her death being suspect?
I don't think nobody in America think it's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, Kim had, I think a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
You personally, right? What do you think happened to Kim Porter?
If I say something personal, bro, and my belief, and I put it on to the public.
Kevin and 50 Cent have had their share of clashes in the past, but they've always found a way to move on. This time, though, the road to peace might not be so smooth. Kevin's already thrown a little shade at 50 for leaking the video, and if there's one thing we know about 50 Cent, he's not the type to back down. If they're not careful, this could escalate into a full-on celebrity feud. And the timing? Worst possible. It's all unfolding under a public microscope. The blogs are eating it up, social media is in overdrive, and the memes are spreading like wildfire. Beyond the personal fallout, there's a real chance this could affect Kevin and Diddy professionally. Both have major projects in the pipeline, and if the backlash keeps growing, sponsors might start to hesitate. Studios could get cold feet. In Hollywood, image is everything, and right now, theirs is under pressure.
You guys remember Ava Baroni Combs, the video that we shared and talked about together?
Eva Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child.
I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs.
I did some digging around and found some old photos that go back many years. She was with him when she was very, very young, so she is in fact his adopted daughter. Some are saying this woman in the background here is her mother, but nothing is confirmed. You can see she's been with him in interviews, hanging out with Diddy's daughters. She was seen everywhere with Diddy's daughter. Here's another one. And I mean, they go way back. And here's a few more. So it shows that, yes, indeed, they spent time together and they grew up together. This is, in fact, their sister and Diddy's adopted daughter. However, I found a video that is so suspect. I want you guys to check it out and tell me what you think.
This is my life.
I have a lot of cars now.
This is because I am a great father, but I'm sleeping with the girl. Tell me, who do y'all have a crush on? Tell Daddy the truth.
I don't know about you guys, but that video and the way Diddy's acting raises so many questions. So many are asking, where's Ava Baroni Combs now?
In Hollywood, reputation is everything, and one misstep can follow you for years. Right now, Kevin Hart and Diddy are in full damage control mode. Whether they can walk away from this without long-term fallout remains to be seen. Even if the public moves on, their relationship might never fully recover. That's the price of fame. When you live in the spotlight, nothing stays private for long. And if there's one person who understands that better than anyone, it's 50 Cent. He's been playing the publicity game for years, and he's clearly loving the chaos he's unleashed. This story? Far from over. The fallout is still unfolding, and the Kevin-Diddy dynamic may never look the same again. After all, when your personal conversations go public, it's hard to put the pieces back together.
See, I know two situations like that. See, Cassie told the story on the witness stand about how Puff and her was in a freak off, and then D-Rock intervened or whatever like that, and they masked themselves up in all black, took the guns out the safe, and went to find Suge. You know what I'm saying? Suge even spoke about he glad they didn't find him because a whole lot of other people probably been dead then too, if they would have found him. Now, she testified that, Puff and D-Rock was going to try to, unalive Suge. You know what I'm saying? Now, What I do know this, me and D-Rock had a conversation about why he's so close to Puff now. You understand? And he told me he was in a diner, Mel's Diner. I guess it was probably Mel's Diner. That's one of the diners that stay late open in California. He said that he was trapped in there and he ain't have no burners or nothing on him. He ain't have no guns, no nothing. He said he called Puff. Now, this is a story coming from D-Rock. He said he called Puff, and Puff came there. But if Puff would have came in the diner, they would have known something. He didn't come in the diner. He sent Cassie in there with the burners. And Cassie gave D-Rock the gun in the diner. Now, this is coming from D-Rock. The story Cassie told is that it was a whole different story from what D-Rock had told me, because D-Rock said he was in the diner himself. And Puff came down there with the guns, sent Cassie in there and gave him one, and was outside waiting on him to come outside. So that's the story that I knew, and I had already said that and expressed that in one of my shows before. Now, the story Cassie told, it was like she saw D-Rock and Puff both put on black and went to go unalive Suge. So those are two different stories that I know of, one from D-Rock and the one we heard from Cassie. It may be the same story and Cassie just flipped it some kind of way, because D-Rock told me this years ago. And then maybe Cassie just, flipped it in a certain kind of way because she took the gun to D-Rock, according to D-Rock.
This entire ordeal is a powerful reminder that in the world of fame and fortune, trust isn't always guaranteed. One moment, you're sharing laughs and secrets. The next, your private conversations are front-page news. It begs the question, how many other celebrity secrets are waiting to be uncovered? And if this situation tells us anything, it's that there's often much more happening behind the scenes than anyone realizes. For a deeper look into some of those hidden Hollywood stories, including the controversial claims involving Diddy and his ties to past industry drama, check out our next video. Because when it comes to celebrity life, what's visible to the public is only half the story.
See, I know two situations like that. See, Cassie told the story on on the witness stand about how Puff and her was in a freak off, and then D-Rock intervened or whatever like that, and they masked themselves up in all black, took the guns out the safe, and went to find Suge. You know what I'm saying? Suge even spoke about he glad they didn't find him because a whole lot of other people would probably been dead then too, you know, if they would have found him. Now, she testified that, you know, Puff and D-Rock was going to try to, you know, unalive Suge. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I do know this, me and D-Rock had a conversation about why he's so close to Puff now. You understand? And he told me he was in a diner, Mel's Diner. I guess it was probably Mel's Diner. That's one of the diners that stay late open in California. He said that he was trapped in there and he ain't have no burners or nothing on him. He ain't have no guns, no nothing. He said he called Puff. Now, this is a story coming from D-Rock. He said he called Puff, and Puff came there. But if Puff would have came in the diner, they would have known something. He didn't come in the diner. He sent Cassie in there with the burners. And Cassie gave D-Rock the gun in the diner. Now, this is coming from D-Rock. The story Cassie told is that it was a whole different story from what D-Rock had told me, because D-Rock said he was in the diner himself. And Puff came down there with the guns, sent Cassie in there and gave him one, and was outside waiting on him to come outside. So that's the story that I knew, and I had already said that and expressed that in one of my shows before. Now, the story Cassie told, it was like she saw D-Rock and Puff both put on black and went to go unalive Suge. So those are two different stories that I know of, you know, one from D-Rock and the one we heard from Cassie. It may be the same story and Cassie just flipped it some kind of way, because D-Rock told me this years ago. And then maybe Cassie just, you know, flipped it in a certain kind of way because she took the gun to D-Rock, according to D-Rock.